Awesome. So hi everyone again. I'm Tomasz. It's my second time here. This time I'm alone. How to 10x your development experience with ephemeral environments, right? So cool. Yeah. So how I would do things in the past, right? With development and with moving code, right? You'd have some local environment. You do the code. You do the PR. You run a subset of tests. Because some of them might not work locally. Then you merge the code to main, the QA guys chip in, they test it, you run the full regression suite, and you prep for the release, right? You're in the environment. Then you go to UAT, someone does the UAT on probably a whole bunch of stuff that landed there, and then it goes to prod, and then it's finally live, right? You probably saw that a few times in the past, right? Now, what I did not like about this whole thing, right? Can you speed up everything? Why everything is taking so long, right? It works on my machine and it doesn't work there. Oh my God, we need to freeze into deployments for 5 hours because we need to do a demo of something, or no one remembers how to reset up the environments, the configs drifted, releases are blocked, whatever, right? Just madness, right? And you just want to punch in some code. So we said, okay, let's not block ourselves a bit, so let's introduce more environments, right? So we've thrown in a whole bunch of dev environments, like you can do it in today AM as a cloud service, you can add yourself more dev boxes, right? So we can build them from branches now, right? But wait, we don't have as many as environments as developers, right? So let's create a Slack channel where we can block them. I can say, hey, I'm now using dev7 to deploy my feature branch and test it out, right? And share it with QA guys. So it kind of maybe helped in few things, but then it was yet another bunch of stuff to do, and you still had local environments with all of their pitfalls. So it's just someone deleted something from dev, someone broke it, it's not working, we need to restart it. Oh my God, my machine is slow. This chat is wrong. Why do we need to align where I just want to work on my code, right? So we said, okay, let's restart this whole thing, right? This is bad. And we started from some principles, right? So every environment should be fully disposable. I should be able to reset up the environment in minutes. And I should be able to reproduce that whole build of code many times a day. I should be able to just fire off a build and have the environment ready and just get the notification that it's ready, right? We cannot have locks between people. People should not depend on each other. They should be helping each other when they want, but they should never ever depend on each other when they are delivering features that have nothing to do with themselves, right? We should not worry whether we have Windows, Macs, Linuxes, whatever. I want to be able to share work with other people. I don't want to be blocked, but if someone should then review my work, for example, QA guys or the product owner, I should be able to just share my work with them easily, right? And last but not least, we have to remember AEM doesn't like Docker, right? Because it's too slow. So we said, okay, let's just stop local development, let's just move everything to cloud. And said, let's do this whole temporary preview environments thing. So we spin them up as we need, and then we destroy them, we forget about them, and we can have as many as we want, right? What started happening when we started doing that, it became awesome and super stable very quickly, because you test your automation for infrastructure setup multiple times a day, because everyone keeps resetting their environments, right? So we very quickly realized that it's just we keep testing that stuff. Now, how this approach of having multiple dev environments in the cloud helped? Devs can have multiple environments running at the same time. So you could be working on 3 different things and just switching context or checking something, checking performance of one approach or another. So you can just spin up multiple machines. The peer reviews are dramatically changed, right? So if you can show your work in action and show it to the people who are doing a code review, they can actually not only do a static code analysis on your code and say whether they like it or not, but they can also help you functionally check it, right? Whether what you think you coded actually does what everyone thinks it should be doing. The quality assurance guys just get a link, right? You just share there, you raise a PR, you get a pull request, you get an environment, you can just give them a link, right? The product owner can actually check every single feature before it goes to production. You're not organizing demos, creating release notes, all of that is gone suddenly because you can just hand them out every single feature. And there's no release management at all because everything is just ready to go to prod. Funny things happen when you start having so many environments. There are so many URLs. So suddenly you have to know where your environments are because they get random URLs, right? So we started doing things like pushing them into GitHub. As we started using and abusing GitHub's cool features where you can just drop a whole bunch of stuff back into the PR, right? So it's a great, GitHub pull request is a great way to track your deployments when you're doing this kind of setup. It's awesome. It's super easy to set up. Now, there are a few more tricky parts. I mean, suddenly you have, hundreds of DNS entries, so you have to be really solid on your DNS management, have it fully automated. You cannot rely on some random people to add you DNS entries. It has to be all super automated. You have to pass those URLs around in your tooling, so there's quite a bit of glue you have to add, right? If you think about it, if you have regression tests, automated regression tests, suddenly you cannot just hard code your 3 environment URLs in that. It has to be all passed around because they are dynamic and random. It has to be quick because you're competing with someone's local environment setup. So it has to be like 10, 15 minutes to just bootstrap everything, whatever technology that is, right? Works much better with monorepos, so that when someone raises a PR, right, they can just get that full thing set up in minutes, and trying to do ephemeral environments on multiple pull requests is just very dodgy, right? So it's much easier to just lock everything down in a monorepo. Yeah, you have to. We soon discovered that we actually might need to populate this like URLs and stuff into more places. Suddenly, even Sling mappings became a problem, right? We're like, oh my god, how do you do dynamic Sling mappings like that, right? Luckily, they have a variable support, so we just set up some environment variables. But it's like you get a few different problems that you would never think you would have. Yeah, and then your automation has to be super black and white, right? It's either green or red so that you know whether it works or not, because you're going to keep repeating that process multiple times a day, so there cannot be any ethology in your regression tests. You have to be really solid on them. Where that leads you to? So it leads you to a state where you have production, and production could be just a named environment, right? It doesn't have to differ from your development environment. It can be just named production, right? And of course, you are never going to destroy it, right? Usually. You might or might not need pre-production, depending on how brave you are. And then you just have those environments on demand. That's all you need, really. You need nothing else, because all of the stuff you're coding and testing and validating just happens on an ephemeral temporary environment for that feature branch. And then it goes to prod, and then you forget about it. You never talk about it again. So we did that for AEM. We did that for other like serverless technologies, like for AWS stuff. It was much easier there, but for AEM it was also possible. So this is just an example of the tool stack you could use. So we used Terraform for environments, and every environment was a separate workspace because it nicely kind of isolates Terraform data. We used Ansible and its dynamic inventory to generate configuration management for that environment, and we've just passed the Terraform state into it so that you could get the URLs and everything and IPs of machines. Maven for app build, because Maven is a thing when you work with AEM. Initially, we used Gradle to glue it all together because, as I mentioned, you need quite a bit of glue. You're passing URLs, doing few black magic things, so you need something easy to use to just write a whole bunch of glue between various tools. We use GitHub Actions because GitHub Actions is just awesome for the pull request stuff. Cypress and Percy for end-to-end tests. So we really wanted to know at the end when we've built that environment that it works. And Cypress or Playwright and something like Percy.io is an awesome combination to tell you that it works. GitHub for test reports, so that we could just quickly, if someone wanted to see how that environment is running, we could just deploy those reports there. And Lighthouse just running through from GitHub Actions to check each and every PR against our performance metrics. A few tricky parts. So you need quite a bit of glue, right? And that glue took much more to write. It literally took us quite a few weeks to write the glue for all of it so that everything was nicely passed around. We've ended up creating Docker image for the tooling because Terraform, Ansible, and all of that stuff, we realized it's tricky to install that on Windows. So we decided to close all of that tooling that you need to run, all of this madness, in a Docker image so that you could just run Docker image and it would do everything. We've set up our Terraform for the base stuff and the environment-specific stuff for speed, so you can set up VPCs, etc. once, and then the environments just sort out themselves. AMIs for pre-baked stuff. So, I mentioned that already today. Installing service packs, etc. You do that once. You don't want to repeat that for every environment. It's a waste of time and electricity. Ansible and its idempotency is awesome for this kind of stuff. You can deploy, redeploy. And remember, virtual machines, when you have 200 of them, they can be pricey. So suspend them and use something like spot instances in AWS because they are like, 1/10 of the price. And for something like ephemeral environments, you don't care if they get shut down because you can just redo them again. Whew, that was quick. Thank you.